swabbed to save drunk teen. Doctors who turned partners in crime arrested. Doctors who turned partners in crime arrested. First threatened driver, now this. Pune's killer brat. Top focus on 5 Live.
And this story truly gets just worse and worse, doesn't it? We started covering it exactly 1 week ago, viewer, and here we are, as promised, still leading with the story here on India Today. Thanks for being with me. I'm Shiv. Straight to the headlines first. The news tightens around the Pune underage Porsche driver's father, Vishal Agarwal, charged with forgery and tampering. Criminal conspiracy charge also slapped after doctors were hand in glove swapping the minor's blood samples. Big India Today impact. Rape accused JDS MP Prajwal Revanna to return and join the probe against him on May the 31st. Issues a video in Kannada, calls rape allegations against him a political conspiracy. Apologizes to his family and followers, but not to the victims. Shocking medical apathy claims the lives of 7 newborn babies in a Delhi infant care hospital. Illegal oxygen racket led to the blaze. 2, including the hospital owner, have been arrested. It's our lead story at 5:30 p.m. After 28, including children, killed in Gujarat's Rajkot gaming zone blaze, CCTV footage accessed shows welding work led to the big fire. Gujarat government suspends 6 officials for gross negligence. But what about negligence at the top? Swati Maliwal versus Aam Aadmi Party in court. AAP MP breaks down claims she's been facing rape and death threats. National Commission for Women's sources say Kejriwal call records will be investigated. Viewer, today is 1 whole week since India Today began reporting the Pune Porsche accident case. Each day that we've covered this story, it has felt like I've managed to cover as many of the ugly layers as there actually exist. But each day I've been proven wrong, and you've seen it every single day here on my show. This morning, I woke up to a message from my friend and reporter Divyesh Singh in Pune, who had just broken today's big update. Something that we had suspected from the start, but stands shamefully proven today. That the family of the underage Porsche driver had used its muscle and money to probably bribe senior forensic doctors into tampering with the underage teenager's blood sample in order to hide the fact that he had been drinking, to hide and mask the alcohol content in his blood. Can you believe it? On India Today, we believe in naming and shaming, and that's why we were the first to release the identities of these 2 doctors, Dr. Ajay Tavde and Dr. Srihari Halnor. 2 doctors, medico-legal experts, entrusted by the state and community with doing their job without fear or favor, choosing instead to crumple like cowards for a few lakh rupees and probably the threat of damage to their careers at the hands of a politically connected family, the Agarwals. But these 2 doctors who've shamed a noble profession and brought disrepute upon themselves and their colleagues and their families are only the latest players in what our reporters have revealed over the last 1 week, with newsbreak after newsbreak, to be a well-lubricated chain reaction of corruption flowing from one powerful and super well-connected family. What is truly shocking about the Pune case is that the machinery of corruption kicked into action even before the bodies of the 2 victims, Ashwini and Aneesh, had been moved from the road. Based just on what we know so far, viewer, let me paint you a simple picture of just how seamlessly corruption played out in the Pune case. It began just minutes after the accident, when the 2 Pune police personnel on ground decided not to alert the area DCP about the accident. In other words, the cops on the ground decided almost instantaneously to try and handle the issue on the ground itself. That stinks of cover-up right off the bat. Next, the underage driver was taken to the police station where he was provided with food. Some reports say pizza and sandwiches. The police deny this, but he was definitely given something to eat. But why? He was further allowed to take a nap. The boy's family and lawyers were allowed access to him at the police station. He was permitted to make calls. The local MLA from the NCP Ajit Pawar faction also arrived there. Why? And his role in this disgusting episode is also under scrutiny by us, and we will, I promise you, find out more. Well, under pressure from the politically super-connected family and its battery of lawyers, the boy wasn't taken for a medical test to check his alcohol levels until 8 hours after the accident. Meanwhile, the boy's father, powerful builder Vishal Agarwal, had escaped from Pune only to be nabbed 48 hours later in a different town in somebody else's car. Only 15 hours after the teenager's detention, the boy was out on bail, with the Juvenile Justice Board judge providing a host of bail conditions that brought this story to the national spotlight in the first case 1 week ago. Bail conditions that nobody will forget, like writing a 300-word essay about the accident, getting counseling and avoiding bad company, etc. In the meanwhile, the Agarwal family was also apparently busy convincing their family driver Gangaram to sacrifice himself and take the blame for the accident, leading to him being questioned twice. And all the while, as we now know, as we've told you today in our big news break, 2 doctors had quietly been phoned by the family or their political contacts and ordered to throw the boy's blood sample into the dustbin and present a clean blood sample of some other unsuspecting patient as the legal finding in this case, basically to suggest that the boy was not drunk, he had not been drinking. This viewer was 360-degree corruption. It played out seamlessly, almost elegantly. The people who bent and were bought almost didn't need to be asked. That's the power of a rich family with political connections in this country. Their demands, their priorities, their requirements are understood down the chain, and sometimes calls don't even need to be made for this corruption to play out. Just the name of the family springing up in the case seemed to be enough for cops, doctors, judges, lawyers, bureaucrats, MLAs, possibly even ministers to begin to crawl and show deference. Which is why, let me say this straight with no doubts at all in my mind, I don't buy for a minute that this powerful family's strength was the police or a pair of doctors. It had to have gone way above that. You and I both know that, viewer. So whether it is people in the Eknath Shinde government or the judge of the Juvenile Justice Board or members of the Sharad Pawar NCP or members of any other party, nobody should be beyond merciless career-ending action. If it's a minister, we will expose them, and I promise you we will name and shame them, as we have been doing without fear or favor for the last 1 week here on India Today. Let's be clear, the Maharashtra government was goaded into action thanks to media pressure, boosted nationally by India Today on this day last week, and then thankfully taken up by all others. The truly unsettling aspect of all that I've just described, though, isn't the corruption itself. It is that such corruption took place, viewer, in plain sight, in one of India's big cities, under the full gaze of social media, with well-known people. For all we hear about the battle against corruption, the leveling of the playing field for common citizens, the accountability of the wealthy and influential, the Pune story is a jolting reminder of what celebrated French writer Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Karr famously said in 1849. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
A saga of shocking cover-up to shield a drunk teen who moved down 2 people, overspeeding after being drunk. Cover-up bit number 1. Accused teen's blood samples swabbed. Cover-up bit number 2. driver threatened to claim he was driving and not the minor. Cover-up bit number 3. Pune cops delayed reporting deadly Porsche crash on time. The teen's family pulled all strings to deny justice to crash victims Ashwini and Aneesh. In the latest, 2 doctors, HOD Forensics Dr. Srihari Halnor and Medical Superintendent of Sassoon General Hospital Dr. Ajay Tawre were arrested for swapping drunk teen's blood sample with that of a sober person to write the blood test.
ऑन का सैंपल एक करेक्ट व्यक्ति का सैंपल था, परंतु जो ससून हॉस्पिटल ने सुबह में जो सैंपल फोरेंसिक को भेजा था वो सैंपल किसी और व्यक्ति का था, मतलब कि ये सैंपल रिप्लेस किया गया है.
The HOD, Dr. Halnor, admitted calling up the teen's father and taking 3 lakh rupees to swap the blood sample, throwing the original sample in dustbin.
जो डॉक्टर हैं जिन्होंने सील करके ये रिपोर्ट फोरेंसिक को भेजी थी, उनको कल हमने डिटेन किया था. उनके प्राथमिक तपास में ये बात सामने आई कि उन्होंने जुवेनाइल एक्यूज्ड का सैंपल लिया था, लेकिन उसने उसको डस्टबिन में फेंका था और उसने एक किसी और व्यक्ति का सैंपल से उसको रिप्लेस करके उस पे उस जुवेनाइल एक्यूज्ड का नाम लिख करके उसको फोरेंसिक लैब को भेजा था.
After doctors swapped minor's blood sample, charges of criminal conspiracy has been slapped on the father of the accused. New CCTV video accessed by India Today strengthens the drink and drive charge on the minor. Hours before the crash, the minor was seen at a bar with his friends, undergoing an 8-hour alcohol-fueled party spree before knocking down the 2 techies. First, the family tried to frame the driver. Now the blood sample swap. Is this how the rich and powerful tamper with justice? With Divyesh Singh and Omkar Wable in Pune, Bureau Report, India Today.
And we're breaking more details of the remand copy of the arrest of these 3 individuals from Sassoon Hospital. 2 doctors and 1 peon have been arrested by the Pune police. The police, remember, want to probe who else spoke to the doctors in order for them to fudge these samples in order to protect the teenager, the Porsche driver. The police say government documents have been manipulated to this end and that a conspiracy was planned in detail to save the underage son of Vishal Agarwal in the Pune crash case. The Pune police is currently probing some financial transactions as well. I want to go across to India Today's Divyesh Singh, who's been breaking every piece of news coming out of this case for the last few days. Divyesh, the big story today broken by you, the arrest of 2 doctors for shockingly fudging the blood samples in order to protect the teenager. Now financial transactions are also going to be scrutinized, which means the police still doesn't know who made the calls and ordered this forgery.
Well, Shiv, as per our sources in the police department, WhatsApp calls and FaceTime calls of Dr. Ajay Tawre are being looked into, that are being checked to find out who was the person who called up Ajay Tawre in the morning itself. Even before the boy was brought to Sassoon Hospital, Dr. Ajay Tawre had received instructions on what to do, on what needs to be done. Because when the boy, the minor accused, was brought to the Sassoon Hospital, during the physical examination, I again emphasize on this, during physical examination, the doctor present, Dr. Halnur, told police officials that I do not smell any alcohol. There is a walking test that is done of accused persons while doing an alcohol test. That also he okayed. He said he's completely normal. While the police officials who had brought him could smell alcohol out of the boy. But Dr. Halnur clearly stated, मुझे कोई smell नहीं आ रहा है, कोई alcohol का smell नहीं. After that, he took the blood sample while the cops insisted that a blood sample be taken. He took the blood sample and, acting on instructions of Dr. Tavre, who is his boss, he then put that sample in a dustbin.
Okay.
And after that, he used some other person's sample, swapped it with some other person's sample, which is suspected that this blood sample, which was used or which was sent further to FSL, was brought in from mortuary.
Incredible.
Again, that is a shocking piece of information because it is suspected that this blood sample was brought from a mortuary.
Yeah, incredible
sent to the
details.
FSL.
Stay with me, Devesh. I'm going to come back to you. I just have Milind Deora, Shiv Sena MP, with me on the phone line for a quick reaction on this story. Milind, welcome. Thanks for speaking to India Today. Day after day, today happens to be 1 week since this story, became the kind of national story it is. Your thoughts first off, Milind, on this story, because with each passing day in our coverage, it has emerged that there has been collusion at all levels, whether it is the police, whether it is doctors, whether it is the Juvenile Justice Board. There is a clear sense of VVIP privilege and protection that's been extended to this underage driver. Milind.
No, firstly, anything that is being unearthed by the India Today group, I would firstly at the outset congratulate you and invite you to do more. These are things which are public issues. These transcend which party is in power, and ensuring that speedy justice prevails is something which is a firm belief of, I can assure you, of this government in the state. As far as any kind of collusion, if it comes to light that there has been any collusion, there has been any malpractice, there has been any siding with the accused, I can only assure you about one thing based on my conversations with the Chief Minister at the highest level of the Maharashtra government, that the government is very, very clear and very committed to ensure that justice prevails, to protect nobody, to ensure that the law obviously will take its own course. We're not a mobocracy, we are a democracy, we have a court of law, we have a judicial system that is robust. But there is no question of allowing any individual, no matter how powerful they may be, to go scot-free, to take the law into their own hands. So my simple point to you is that the government is fully committed to ensuring that if anything comes to light, whether it's done by an independent agency, whether it's done by the media, it will be actioned, it will be looked into very seriously, and the government will do everything they can to make sure that justice prevails.
Milind, you're saying that the Chief Minister has, personally looked at this story and he has promised action at all levels. You're saying that?
Absolutely, and I can tell you he's somebody who is, I've seen a lot of politicians in this state over many decades, and I've seen them handle many a controversy which involve issues similar to this. He's someone who's very clear that regardless of who the person is, which party they're from, could be his own party, could be any other party, could be someone with no political affiliations but a VVIP in terms of their wealth or other status. He will not let somebody, let the guilty go scot-free. And as I said, that doesn't mean we have to go into a witch hunt. That also means let the law take its own course. Let the police do their job. Let the investigating agencies do their job. Let the judiciary do their job without pressure from politicians and media. But by all means, if anyone has any evidence to the contrary that somebody is colluding to protect the guilty, to protect the accused,
Milind,
the government will leave no stone unturned, whether it's the Pune police, whether it's the police department, whether it's any other government department, to ensure that speedy justice prevails.
Milind, final question. Accidents happen, VVIP privilege is not something new in the country, but one of the reasons why, perhaps people have been shocked in the way that they have been about this particular case is the impunity with which elements of the system appear to have worked for this family in order to protect this boy. That's one of the reasons why people are very angry. Has the government recognized that, and that's the reason why urgency is required to send out the right message, and will it be sent?
My information is very clear that the government has acknowledged and is continuing to acknowledge whatever is coming to light. Again, sometimes does collusion happen regardless of which party is in power? It's possible. Does collusion happen at the lowest level? That's possible. But at the highest level, I can assure you that there is no question of protecting any of the colluders, whether it's the accused or whether it's a member of the government, could be of any department. So at the highest level, they've taken cognizance of the fact that there are media reports coming to light that collusion may have happened, and the government will do all that they can to arrest those who are allegedly guilty and to prosecute those in a court of law who have been accused of colluding with the accused.
Okay, Milind,
There's no question of protecting, giving protection to anyone. There's no question of, regardless of who this person is. I'm saying this person doesn't seem to be somebody who's a politician. But even if this person was someone with political connections belonging to any party, there's no question of supporting these kinds of things. These things, people, this is not about rich versus poor. People who misuse the law, it could be anyone regardless of their economics, which strata they belong to. People who misuse the law have to be given a stern message that they cannot misuse the law. And whether that person misusing the law is a rich, spoiled kid, whether it's a rogue police officer, there is no space in Maharashtra for this kind of taking the law into their own hands. And this is not the first time it's happened. It's happened even a few months ago, if you remember, when a rogue police officer went to an industrialist home and was planting bombs and trying to extort money. So both ways, these are things which have been condemned, these are things which have been criticized, and these are people who have been jailed. So I'm sure the law will take its own course, but at the highest level, to answer your question, yes, they've taken cognizance and they will protect no one and ensure that speedy justice prevails.
Milind Dera, thanks very much for speaking to India Today. A strong message from the Shiv Sena MP says that Eknath Shinde, the Chief Minister, is fully cognizant. Hopefully that message will radiate outwards and reflect in the action being taken on the ground, and not only because of media pressure forcing this kind of action on a daily basis. And remember, we are cognizant of that as well. Divyesh, I want to come to you for another quick question, since you're on the ground and tracking all of this. The Juvenile Justice Board is also not beyond scrutiny, Divyesh. You know, the 300-word essay, 15 hours, bail granted to this boy after just 15 hours. The Juvenile Justice Board judge will also need to be investigated about whether, anybody in the Juvenile Justice Board was compromised in such a manner by the Agarwal family.
Well, yes, Shiv, we've received this information from our sources in Pune Police that an inquiry is being conducted in these regards also. The person, the non-judicial member, on the day of 19th of May, it was a holiday court and there was no regular judges available. So a non-judicial member held the hearing. He heard what police had to say, and he is the person who signed on the order stating that the boy should work with traffic police, do social service and write a 300-word essay. Despite police officials adding and pointing out that they have added the section 304 of IPC, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, which was done in complete knowledge by the minor accused, and the same day application was also filed that he should be tried as an adult. But despite that, the Juvenile Justice Board released him, allowed him to go home, and only asked him to write a 300-word essay on accident and what is the solution to that.
So the non-judicial member...
This is under inquiry.
Finish your point.
He was compromised. Whether he was compromised or not, whether he acted under pressure, whether he indulged into some illegal activity, that is being probed. It is part of the probe. Remember, police officials have said that they are leaving no stone unturned, and each and every person is being investigated.
Divyesh, thanks very much for getting us that report straight from the ground. 1 week since we began our coverage, and we won't be stopping anytime soon. Our reporters on the ground will continue to bring you the big lead story on the Pune case every single day. And speaking of impact, and we don't use that word lightly, Prajwal Revanna, the JDS MP from Karnataka, who has spent as of today 1 month on the run from rape charges and sexual assault charges, following relentless coverage by India Today, he has finally broken his silence and announced that he will be returning to India and appearing before the special investigation team ordered against him on the 31st of May. Let me remind you that it's been a month today that Prajwal Revanna left India and has been stationed. He has stationed himself probably in Germany, as far as what we are told. But right after polling concluded in Hassan constituency, where he is the sitting MP, he has broken his silence, like I said, in this video that he shared with a Kannada channel, where he talks about being depressed. He talks about being in isolation and that he will now be fully cooperating with the investigating agencies.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗೆ, ತಾತಂಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಕುಮಾರನಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಡಿನ ಜನತೆಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ, ನಾನು ಫಾರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೊಡದೇ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಏನು 26ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ನಡೀತು. 26ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ನಡೆದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕರಣ ಆಗಲಿ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಏನೂ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. SITನೂ ಕೂಡ ರಚನೆ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ 26ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ನಾನು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಹೋಗೋದು ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಪ್ರೀ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಹೊರಟಾದ ಮೇಲೆ 3-4 ದಿನದ ನಂತರ ನಾನು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ನೋಡುವಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ, ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ನೋಡುವಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಈ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ದೊರಕುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಯಿತು. ಮಾಹಿತಿ ದೊರಕದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂತರ SITನೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಒಂದು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿತು. ಆ SIT ನೋಟಿಸ್ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಖಾತೆ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಲಾಯರ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾನು 7 ದಿನ ಸಮಯ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. 7 ದಿನ ಸಮಯ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಮಾರನೇ ದಿನನೇ ಏನು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿನ ಹಿರಿಯ ನಾಯಕರಾದಂಥ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು ಹಾಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯ ನಾಯಕರುಗಳು ಏನು ಓಪನ್ ವೇದಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಒಂದು ರಾಜಕೀಯದ ಪಿತೂರಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಯಿತು, ಐಸೋಲೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಹಾಸನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ಶಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ರಾಜಕೀಯದ ಒಂದು ಪಿತೂರಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ರಾಜಕೀಯವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಏನು ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನನ್ನ ಕುಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಏನೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕರಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಇನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಆಘಾತ ಆಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಿ ನಾನೇ ಒಂಚೂರು ದೂರ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಪ್ಪು ತಿಳಿಯೋದು ಬೇಡ. ನಾನೇ ಖುದ್ದಾಗಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ ಏನು 31ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು 10 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ SIT ಮುಖಾಂತರ SIT ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದು ನಾನು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಈ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡೋ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದ ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇದೆ. ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಸುಳ್ಳಿನ ಪ್ರಕರಣಗಳಿದಾವೆ, ಈ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಪ್ರಕರಣದಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಬರುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸನ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದ ಮುಖಾಂತರನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೂ ದೇವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮತ್ತು ಜನರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ, ನನ್ನ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರಲಿ. ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಈ 31ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ ನಾನು SIT ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ನಾನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಒಂದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತಲೆ ಎಳೆಯುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇರಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ನೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಕೋರ್ತಾ ನಾನು ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
And the first reactions have come in from the family of Prajwal Revanna following his breaking of silence, announcing his return to India by the end of this month to face the special investigation team. His uncle HD Kumaraswamy, former Chief Minister of Karnataka, has spoken out, says he is relieved that his nephew and JDS MP Prajwal Revanna will be returning. He says the truth will be out soon. Take a look.
ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ದೇವೇಗೌಡರು ಮತ್ತು ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಬಂದು SITಗೆ ಹಾಜರಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ದೇವೇಗೌಡರು ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆಯೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಮನವಿನೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಇದ್ದರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮನವಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೊಟ್ಟು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳೇನಾಗಬೇಕು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸತ್ಯಾಂಶಗಳೇನಿದೆ, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳು ಏನಿದೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ SITಯ ತನಿಖೆ ಈಗೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೋಡೋಣ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ತಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನು ನನಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಕೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರ ನೋವು ಸ್ಪಂದಿಸು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರ ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಕೋರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪಾಪ ಈಗಲಾದರೂ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ
and has hit out at Rahul Gandhi, saying that he is using this all in his political campaign across the state during election.
I don't know about it. I just haven't heard from of you what option he had. The law will take its own course, and whatever the information Rahul Gandhi has in the media, he has spoken. That's all.
Sir, on 31st he is appearing, sir. How are you going to take it? Sir, on 31st he is going to appear.
Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar saying the law will take its own course. Anaga Keshav joining me live from Bengaluru. Anaga, big India Today impact. Relentless coverage forcing not only a spotlight on this entire case, but now 1 month since Prajwal Revanna left the country, he announces that he is returning and will face the law on 31st.
Well, that's right, Shiv. It was India Today's relentless and extensive coverage that has led Prajwal Revanna to finally break his silence after a month. It has exactly been 31 days, Shiv, since he fled the country, just hours after elections got over. And now, after India Today's coverage and of course External Affairs Ministry's show cause notice to Prajwal Revanna demanding him to give a response as to why his diplomatic passport should not be cancelled. Being a parliamentarian, I think that that just reached the peak of humiliation after the External Affairs Ministry's intervention. That was when Prajwal Revanna has finally broken his silence. He says, throughout the video, Shiv, if you take a look at it, he's just trying to garner more and more sympathy by saying that he respects his he respects his elderly grandfather. He says, my Kumarana, my uncle, my parents, my Karyakartas, all these charges against me are false. I respect the judiciary. But Shiv, throughout the video, not a single word, that is addressed to the women of Hassan that he has allegedly exploited. Not a single word addressing that issue. And throughout the video, Shiv, not for a minute did he even reveal which foreign country that he is in. Very, very, sort of evasive kind of formal diplomatic statements coming in from Prajwal Revanna. Truly, Shiv, playing it like a pakka politician. That was the kind of, emotionless response that we saw in that 2.5-minute video that just played on air. We need to wait and watch, if Prajwal Revanna will really show up on May 31st, at the CIT office at 10 a.m. That's what he promises, but we need to wait if he will really turn up.
Well, he said it, so he better keep his word on that. Sagai, what are you hearing from the SIT? We heard that conversation with DK Shivakumar just now, but what is the SIT saying? 1 month later, you've got Prajwal Revanna acting like as if he's doing them a favor by coming back.
Absolutely, and he has no other go because there is a warning letter, open letter written by Deve Gowda. Yes, it was a damage control, but he realizes the importance of returning to the country. And remember, there is a second letter written by the Chief Minister of Karnataka requesting the PMO as well as External Affairs Minister to go ahead and cancel his diplomatic passport. He's not doing a favor. He's been forced to do. It is a relentless coverage of India Today. It is the investigation department as well as the pressure from the External Ministry Affairs as well as Karnataka government. External Ministry Affairs cancelling the diplomatic passport. Once the diplomatic passport has been cancelled, the SIT will get to know every single movement of him and he'll be forced to deport to India. So he have no other choice because the passport is getting cancelled. In case if it has not been cancelled, probably he wouldn't have even released this particular video. Probably he wouldn't have even spoke about this. He would have happily said like any other fugitive who's staying back in any other country. So probably it is the media pressure, it is the SIT investigation as well as the letter written by the Chief Minister of Karnataka as well as SIT which have forced him to release this particular video and ensure that he returns on 31st. And we have also seen the letter of Deve Gowda. Many political thinkers say that it was a damage control by the party, because all this while the Deve Gowda was keeping quiet. He realized that now there is no any other choice, because the external affairs ministers had reciprocated to the letter of Karnataka government. Now, to ensure that, to control the party and the image of the party, they have written a letter. Now he has reciprocated to that and says that he will be returning on 31st.
31st is when he says he will be returning and facing the SIT. We're yet to hear from the SIT, which we will very shortly. Big impact of India Today's Bengaluru team, including Sagai and Anaga. Thanks very much for getting us that ground update. We will keep tracking this story. We've got more breaking news coming in now. An update on the allegations levelled by Aam Aadmi Party Rajya Sabha MP Swati Maliwal of alleged assault at the residence of the Delhi Chief Minister a few days ago. Well, no bail for Arvind Kejriwal's aide Bibhav Kumar, who was arrested by the Delhi police a few days ago. The bail has been dismissed. Remember, Bibhav has been personally accused by Swati Maliwal of assaulting and abusing her. Swati Maliwal claimed in court that there was a threat to her life and her family's life if Bibhav got bail, and that he is no ordinary Aam Aadmi Party worker. Let me go straight across to India Today's Arvind Ojha for more on this. Okay, Srishti, let's go across to Srishti Ojha for more on this story. Srishti, bail denied to Bibhav. How long is he going to remain in custody at this point of time, and what happens next in the case?
Well, Yashav, like you said, it's definitely a big setback for Vibhav Kumar. He was expecting bail from Delhi Hazari Court. Now, after his bail dismissal, as of now, we know that he's presently in judicial custody, because the Delhi police have not sought any further police custody for him. However, Delhi police today told court that they are likely to seek his custody to confront him with some digital evidence and the report, the FSL report that they're expecting very soon. Tomorrow, his judicial custody ends, which is when he will be produced before the court, and it will be important to see if Delhi police seeks any further custody. As far as his bail plea is concerned, we saw quite an intense hearing today before Hazari Court, where Swati Maliwal was also physically present, and she directly addressed the court and opposed grant of any bail to Bibhav Kumar, clearly stating that if he's out on bail, it will cause grave danger to both her and her family. Vibhav's lawyer, however, called this entire case premeditated, which has only been concocted to malign Vibhav. In fact, even went ahead and said that Swati Maliwal's injuries could have been self-inflicted. So as of now, the next step for the next hope of relief for Bibhav Kumar would be only if today's order is challenged before the High Court by his legal team. And it will be important to see what the Delhi police tells court tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, Srishti, thanks very much for that comprehensive update. We'll keep a track very closely on that story as well. We're slipping into a very short break. On the other side of 5 Live, shocking medical apathy takes the lives of 7 newborn infants at a neonatal care center in Delhi. It's unspeakable, but we've got some details that makes this a whole lot worse. Coming up.
India cools down in 10 seconds with Hexa Inverter, heavy-duty air conditioner. Higher, more creation, more possibilities.
What you doing? Yeah, you're getting me down. Got me looking at you scared in the crowd.
Why don't wanna move like that? Why you want
Now, coming for you. Let me show you why.
Introducing Motorola H50 Fusion. Own the spotlight.
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सॉल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
सर, आप किस एज में रिटायर हुए थे?
39।
सोच रहा था काश मेरी भी रिटायर्ड लाइफ आप जैसी हो।
उसके लिए मैदान में उतरना पड़ेगा।
उतरूंगा ना सर।
अरे भाई यहाँ नहीं, म्यूचुअल फंड्स के मैदान में।
म्यूचुअल फंड्स?
हर महीने इन्वेस्ट करो, फ्यूचर की तैयारी करो।
करोड़ों लोग इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं और देश के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
सही है सर।
तो आ जाओ मैदान में।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
घर रुंगटा स्टील से बनाया होता तो रईस यहाँ से नहीं आ पाता। रुंगटा स्टील का यही कमाल, एक बार लगे चले सालों साल।
रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार, एकदम सॉलिड।
Let's call him. थोड़ा
in Gorakhpur, we were passing by and saw this particular shop that's got a whole number of people. Obviously, as some of the most popular pan in Gorakhpur. Let's go there, talk to some people. I'm not the biggest fan of pan, but I will try it since it's a local delicacy here as well. Let's talk to some of the people. Namaskar. आप बताइए, आप गोरखपुर में रहते हैं जी? आप किसके लिए वोट देंगे?
हम तो मोदी के लिए देंगे।
ये वोट मोदी जी के लिए या योगी जी के लिए?
ये योगी जी, मोदी जी, रवि किशन, आप सबके लिए है।
गोरखपुर में अच्छा विकास हो रहा है और विकास चल भी रहा है, और इसमें नो डाउट कि विकास के नाम पर लोग अगर कुछ कह रहे हैं तो गलत कह रहे हैं। विकास अच्छा हो रहा है, गोरखपुर अच्छा हो रहा है, रोडें अच्छी हुई हैं।
मोदी जी ने कहा था कि हम आएंगे, अच्छे दिन लाएंगे। अच्छे दिन तो आए, लेकिन बुरे दिन उतना ही आ गया।
कैसे?
उन्होंने कहा कि 2 करोड़ नौकरी देंगे, वो भी फेल हो गई।
तो बेरोजगारी की बात, तो अभी 5 साल में उतना ज्यादा फर्क नहीं हुआ।
5 साल में नहीं हुआ तो 5 साल में क्या हुआ?
ये लोग तो जो मैं बात कर रही थी बोल रहे थे कि टाइम आ गया परिवर्तन के लिए।
अब उनकी मानसिकता क्या है वो तो हम नहीं जानते।
बोल रहे हैं कि 10 साल ठीक है काम हुआ, लेकिन परिवर्तन भी होना चाहिए।
परिवर्तन किस चीज का होगा जब सरकार काम अच्छा कर रही है? तो
चांस देना चाहिए।
मौका तो मिला ही था उनको, उन लोगों ने क्या किया?
आप शहर से 5-10 किलोमीटर दूर घूमिए, गाँव में जाइए, यहीं पे मोहल्लों में जाइए, आपको बिजली की तारें लटकी हुई दिखाई देंगी नीचे, नाले नहीं है, सड़क नहीं है मोहल्लों में, रोड पे बहुत विकास दिखाई देता है यहाँ पे।
तो वो उस पे काम करना चाहिए।
उस पे काम करना चाहिए।
ये इनको पता ही नहीं है, शायद ये गोरखपुर नहीं रहने वाले हैं। हम लोग पता है कि मैडम यहाँ से अगर हम लोग चलते थे, आपके 69 से अगर आते थे, तो इसी गोरखपुर में 2 घंटा 2.5 घंटा लग जाता था। यही इंसेफ्लाइटिस से नौनिहालों की मौत प्रतिदिन 150-200 होती थी। आज बिल्कुल नहीं हो रहा। एक मौतें इंसेफ्लाइटिस से नहीं हो रही हैं।
और ना जा रहा है सर, आपको दोबारा इसीलिए
टाइट व्यवस्था कर दी है। ये जिला अस्पताल में चले जाइए।
आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, इसलिए आपको दोबारा चुना गया है। आपको तीसरी बार भी चुना जाएगा। आप अच्छा कर रहे हैं देश के लिए, तभी चुना जा रहा है। ऐसा अगर बुरा करते तो कोई नहीं चुनता आपको, लेकिन जहाँ पे काम नहीं वहाँ पे करना है आपको।
Babies that died before they even had names, before their parents had even had a chance to name them. Viewer, you already know the story about the neonatal care center in India's national capital, Delhi, that burnt down on Saturday late in the night, killing 6 newborn babies. That number has now turned to 7. And you don't normally need any reminding about how cheap life is in our country, but please bear with me as I tell you just how cheap life has proven to be with this new case. It's even cheaper than you thought. First, this East Delhi hospital where this tragedy took place had been running without a registration for 2 months. It was, in other words, an unlicensed and unregistered hospital. A license issued by the Delhi government's Department of Health had expired on March the 31st, and yet the facility continued to run and nobody even knew anything about it. Second, the hospital did not have clearance from the fire department. It did not have a mandatory no objection certificate to function. Its test equipment was on the ground floor with the newborn infants kept on the first floor. Third, the hospital didn't have a single emergency exit, nowhere through which a rapid rescue could have been conducted. Shocking images prove this. They show the police and the fire department removing the babies via a back window. Fourth, the hospital did not have a fire extinguisher on its premises. Think of what it would take to just have a simple fire extinguisher, a low-cost piece of equipment, and it wasn't there. Fifth, the hospital did not have a qualified doctor on duty, a mandatory requirement for all neonatal care facilities. The entire point of a neonatal care facility is round-the-clock monitoring, because these are newborn babies, anywhere between a few hours old to a few days old. They could require emergency attention at any time of day or night. They are there precisely because not everything has gone right with their birth, but they didn't have a professional, qualified doctor on duty that night. Number 6, the doctor who happened to be on duty had a bachelor's degree in Ayurveda medicine and surgery, not the qualification required for round-the-clock care at any time in such a facility. Number 7, the hospital which, when licensed, had been authorized to care for 5 babies, no more than 5 babies at a time, had over double that number, 12 babies in its care at the time of Saturday night's fire. It was therefore running at more than double its authorized handling capacity. Remember this number, viewer, authorized for 5 and handling 12. Because of the 12 babies, 5 babies were saved and undergoing treatment now. If the hospital had obeyed its capacity restrictions, perhaps there would be no deaths in the fire. Perhaps all the babies would have been saved if there were only 5. And finally, violation number 8, an unauthorized oxygen cylinder racket was found to be operating on the hospital premises. As many as 32 oxygen cylinders were illegally found to be present on the ground floor, right below the floor where the babies were. I've listed just 8 violations, viewer. As you have seen in our reports, the parents, the families of these dead newborns aren't people of privilege, not a single one of them. They're all ordinary folk. Many of them are poor, none with the means to put their newborns in expensive neonatal care facilities, in big hospitals. With government hospitals burdened beyond capacity, even in the national capital, private hospitals routinely refer their poor patients to small neonatal care hospitals like the ones where these 7 babies died. 7 babies, wrapped in tiny sheets, their time on earth counted in hours. Their anxious parents had placed their trust in one among hundreds of such unauthorized centers to give their newborns a fighting chance at life. And now there is only darkness, only the worst that new parents can imagine. The only question, therefore, viewer, is this: will those whose jobs it is to ensure such hospitals do not operate pay the price? Or do we once again normalize the blood of babies?
This isn't a war zone. This is what is left of the Children's Hospital in Delhi's Vivek Vihar. A man-made disaster from multiple failures, criminal negligence and clear regulatory oversights. Authorities spring into action. Arrests made, accountability pursued.
हमने डॉक्टर जो उसके संचालक हैं डॉक्टर नवीन खींची उनको हमने अप्रीहेंड किया इसमें। इसके अलावा हमें पता चला कि उन्होंने 3 BAMS डॉक्टर भी इसमें रखे हुए थे, तो उसमें से एक डॉक्टर जो ऑन ड्यूटी थे डॉक्टर आकाश, उनको भी हमने अप्रीहेंड किया है। इंटेंशनल ये सारी चीज़ें इन्होंने करी है जानबूझते हुए, तो फिर हमने धारा 304 कल्पेबल होमिसाइड नॉट अमाउंटिंग टू मर्डर इसमें लगाई है।
At least 7 babies died in this massive fire at a children's hospital in Delhi's Vivek Vihar on Saturday night.
यहाँ आके देखा तो यहाँ बहुत ही भयानक दृश्य था। बम ब्लास्ट जैसे, वैसे एक बार तो ऐसा लगा जैसे कोई बम ब्लास्ट हो रहा है, कोई बम यहाँ पर स्टॉल कर दिया है, लेकिन बाद में पता चला कि यहाँ पर सिलेंडर फटे जा रहे हैं।
Outrage is growing over the severe violations at the hospital.
ये मैं आपको जो फैक्ट बता रहा हूँ, 150 किलो एक सिलेंडर का प्रेशर जिस तरीके से बॉम्ब की तरह फटे हैं, उन्होंने RDX का काम किया है।
For parents who lost their newborns, the grief is endless.
मैं जब तक सरकार से मैं अपना न्याय नहीं ले लेता, मैं यहाँ से जाऊंगा नहीं किसी हाल में। मेरी बेटी का यहाँ पे मेरे इंतकाल हो गया, मैं आज उसे दफन करेगा अपना मट्टी देगा भी वही कब्रदार हूँ मैं अपनी बच्ची के बगैर नहीं ले पाऊंगा। मैं अपनी बच्ची में यहाँ पे आकर मैं अपना मैं सरकार से अरविंद केजरीवाल से PM मोदी से मैं इसका इंसाफ चाहता हूँ अपनी बच्ची का।
जितनी नर्सें थी उनका इतना तक कपड़ा तक नहीं चला है, ड्रेस पहन रखी थी हॉस्पिटल वाली, इतना भी नहीं चला। अगर 2-2 बच्चे लेके जाते तो बचा सकते थे हमारा बच्चा, कि नहीं बचा सकते? कहते ना डॉक्टर भगवान का रूप होते हैं, अगर बच्चा बचाना था तो बचा सकते थे ना, किसी का तो बचाते, हमारा नहीं बचा पाते। तो
Oxygen cylinders exploded like bombs, fanning the fire.
This is what remains of the oxygen cylinders that were stored illegally right here in the basement of this hospital. Eyewitnesses, in fact, have indicated to us that the intensity of the blast was such that hospital cylinders from here actually went flying across the road and went and hit the walls of the buildings right opposite this particular nursing home. The situation here is speaking volumes of what was the intensity of the blast and giving an idea about what those innocent children went through, especially the ones who've lost their lives in this horrific tragedy.
The hospital isn't new to legal troubles. In 2021, its owner, Dr. Naveen Khichi, was accused of harming a newborn during treatment when his facility wasn't even registered. The Delhi government promises stern action. But this horrific incident exposes possible enforcement gaps at healthcare facilities across the national capital. With Sneha Mordani in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And with the promise that we will get answers to all of the reporting that we're doing on ground on this story, let me leave you, viewer, with these big questions we're asking today. The hospital, this hospital where those 7 babies died, was found to be without registration even back in 2021. Why was the owner let off the hook then? Even now, he didn't have a license. How did this hospital get a new registration despite violating norms in the past, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as neonatal care? Did the authorities, the Delhi Department of Health, turn a blind eye to this oxygen cylinder racket that was taking place on the premises? How was the hospital running at over double its capacity? Did the hospital staff abandon the babies? How were they all unharmed? Every person in the staff was unharmed, only the babies died. How did the hospital appoint unqualified doctors? How were they allowed to get away with it? Some of the questions to think about. Remember, we will be continuing this big story and our coverage right here on India Today. Well, stay tuned to India Today. Up next, it's Election Express with Akshita Nandagopal. This is a special report from Varanasi.
India cools down in 10 seconds with Hexa Inverter, heavy-duty air conditioner. Higher, more creation, more possibilities.
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सोल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
सर, आप किस एज में रिटायर हुए थे?
39।
सोच रहा था काश मेरी भी रिटायर्ड लाइफ आप जैसी हो।
उसके लिए मैदान में उतरना पड़ेगा।
उतरूंगा ना सर।
अरे भाई यहाँ नहीं, म्यूचुअल फंड्स के मैदान में।
म्यूचुअल फंड्स?
हर महीने इन्वेस्ट करो, फ्यूचर की तैयारी करो।
करोड़ों लोग इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं और देश के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
सही है सर।
तो आ जाओ मैदान में।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
First, we meet incumbent MP, BJP candidate Bhojpuri star Ravi Kishan. He uses all his singing and acting skills to woo crowds. Particularly the women.
I have with me the incumbent MP from Gorakhpur, Mr. Ravi Kishan. Sir, I must say your campaign has been thoroughly entertaining, very colourful to witness.
Yeah, because it's a celebration. It's people wait for this for 5 years. And Modi ji has brought so many, he brought life to their life. He got happiness to them. He got food, ration, house, road, electricity. So I have to celebrate what Modi ji has given them, what Puji Yogi Maharaj has given them. So that this